Okay. Today we are going to actually begin our project simulation. So I'm going to kind of talk you through that and show you a lot of the different parts. You're going to be given a couple different cards, and we're going to be I'm going to be grading basically one sheet. And while you're with the partner, technically you're going to be graded separately, if that makes sense. So, um, anyways, some vocabulary that you need to know are the following. So when you go and you start looking at a vehicle, you'll hear something called a purchase price. There's a couple different prices, like other than myself, but there's a couple different prices, so it's important to know which one is what. But the purchase price is the initial amount agreed upon to buy the car before any additional cost are applied. Then you also have something called sales tax, which you guys have heard of, is an additional cost imposed by the government on the sale of the vehicle, which are added to the purchase price. And so the calculation here are to figure out the so you need to look up wherever you're going to be searching for a vehicle, and uh I don't know if I should, well, you're going to be searching for a vehicle, but sales tax are different and depending on where you live. So you're going to have to calculate the sales tax by taking the percentage rate and multiplying that by the purchase price to get your sales tax. Um, and then you have a total sales price, which is the total amount the buyer will need to pay, which includes the purchase price and the sales tax. So we're going to find the sales tax, add that to the purchase price, and this is the total sales price. So the total sales price is purchase price plus the sales tax. Some other vocabulary is the trade-in value. Um, this is the amount of credit, or what does it say? This is the amount of credit a dealer offers for the old car when you buy a new one, which can be deducted from the sales price. So you make that calculation first, and then you take the trade-in off of the sales price, not the purchase price. A down payment is the initial upfront payment that is made when purchasing a car, reducing the amount of finance through a loan. So some people might have a trade-in as well as an initial down payment to reduce the amount that they finance. So finance is the process of obtaining a loan to purchase a car, which involves borrowing money from a lender and paying it back over time, usually with interest. The amount to be financed is the total amount borrowed to purchase the car, which can be calculated by taking the total sales price minus the down payment minus the trade-in value. So there's a lot of small little calculations here. It's relatively easy if you write this down and just kind of go step by step. A loan term is the length of time you have to repay the car loan, typically ranging from 36 to 72 months. We already talked about a credit score. It's a numerical representation of your credit worthiness, which influences your ability to secure financing and the interest rate you may receive. Interest is the cost of borrowing money, expresses a percentage of the loan amount. It increases the total amount you will pay over time, over the life of the loan. And then monthly payment, like we saw yesterday, is the amount paid each month toward the car loan, which includes both principal payments, which reduces how much you owe, and interest payments. And it is calculated based on the loan amount, interest rate, and loan term. So we are going to walk through pretty much an example on how your project is, except your project is going to be a simulation. So I'm giving you numbers here, and what's going to happen is if you're absent, I'm going to have you watch this video because I'm not going to re-explain this whole thing, but I'm going to divide the class in half, and it's going to be kind of random. It may just be this side of the room go over here, this side of the room go over here, and one side of the class is going to be looking to buy a car, and the rest of the class is not sitting in the little individual desk, are going to sit on the bigger desk, kind of simulating maybe an office or something like that. They're going to be our salesmen for the day. So the people at the people in the room closest to my desk and the individual desk are going to have their Chromebooks out. They're going to go on the internet and search for an actual used car, and or it doesn't have to be used, new. but you can kind of see and play with these figures as you go through. But you're going to actually find a car, and before you do that, I'm going to give you a little card. It's called a buyer's card, and it has things like your credit score on there, and if you have a trade in and how much that trade in is worth. If you have anything in savings that you can use as a down payment, um, and it's also going to tell you your maximum monthly payment. Like you cannot go over this maximum monthly payment for this vehicle. So you'll have to make sure you meet those guidelines. But your job is, maybe you don't necessarily know this, so you're going to go and see if you can afford something like this first. And there's other ways to approach this, but for this first kind of unit, when we're looking at monthly payment, let's just see if we can afford it first. So you may go in there and say you're way off, and that means you probably need to find a new car. Okay, but anyways, the buyers are going to go look for their car. Then they're going to come over to the salesman, and the salesman's going to fill out the salesman sheet, which has a lot of the stuff, a lot of your information, like your credit score. You guys are going to be communicating almost like that, like this was a real salesman. You're a real buyer. I would like to see eye contact, handshakes. Uh, I want the salesman asking questions, even though he can just give the buyer can give him his little buyer's card and he can fill it out. I want to hear those dialogues. Um, and so that's kind of the picture that I'm trying to paint. And then I will be grading the salesman sheet. And you are done once you actually sell the car. And you sell the car by making sure you um, meet that you're under that maximum monthly payment. Okay. And if you're not, you have a couple options. The first thing is you need to come see me. If you're relatively close to that amount, but you're maybe off a little bit, you would come see me. I'm going to give you a negotiations card. The salesman would rerun the math and then recalculate the monthly payment. If that doesn't work, he would come to me, just like in a car dealership would go see the manager, see what else they can do. I'll give you another negotiations card. You can do another recalculation to see if that works. If it doesn't, you're going to need to tell the customer, sorry, you're going to need to find another vehicle, something cheaper. And then the customer needs to go back over to their desk and find something a little cheaper that doesn't cost as much until we can get to where we need to be. So that's kind of the idea. And I'm going to give a few days for that for each part. And then I'm going to switch it. The people that were salesmen are now going to be buyers, and the people that were buyers are now going to be salesmen. So each person is individually graded on this salesman side of it. Okay. So here's the kind of math part. So this is the math that a salesman's going to do. So you decide to purchase a vehicle with a purchase price of $41,000. So I went to the dealership as a buyer with $41,000. The sales tax rate in the area is 7%. So I believe that's the sales tax rate that we're going to use. You have a trade-in valued at 17,000. So I have a trade-in to put in. So this would be stuff that I see on my buyer's card. Okay, to put in towards my new vehicle, and you are also putting an additional down payment of $1,000. Determine your two different payment options based on your credit score of 676 and use the table to determine your rate and term. So we can negotiate sometimes, not really negotiate, but sometimes you might have different options when you go in there. Like you can have a longer payment period with a higher interest rate, or a shorter payback period with the lower interest rate. So we're going to use that to determine this. Um, Make sure you pay attention to write down this one example, because what I'm going to have you do is a summative, and I'm showing you how to do it. Okay. I try to make the format look almost the same. Now, I don't have personal information in here like you will on, not personal, but like on your salesman sheet. There'll be a little more information, like what type of car, the year, make, and model, how many miles are on it, because these are going to be real cars that you're searching for. I don't have that on this slideshow. Okay. I also don't have customer name information right now, but that will be on the salesman sheet. So you have a table that is going to look kind of like this on your salesman sheet, and we're going to calculate all of these. So this is kind of hard to read from the TV screen, but the first thing is we're going to list the purchase price. So what is the sticker price that you see on that vehicle? We're going to write that. The salesman's going to, like, once he figures out what car, the buyer's going to show him the car that they want, then the salesman's going to take over and do all the math. So the salesman's going to write down the purchase price, and then he's going to calculate the sales tax. So sales tax at 7%, this is the math that we would do. Our purchase price, times that sales tax rate comes out to $2,870. And so we're just going to kind of go in order of what I just listed out on kind of our vocabulary. The next thing we want to figure out is the total sales price. So this includes the purchase price plus the tax. So I'm going to just add those together and get $43,870. And then, do I have a trade-in? Some of the cards don't have a trade-in, so you would put 0 here. Mine says that I do. I have a trade-in of $17,000. Also, the next thing is down payment. Your card you may not have anything in savings. So if you don't have anything in savings, you can't put a down payment down. And you'll find that on your buyer's card, when you're a buyer. Once again, the salesman's writing all this down. I do have $1,000 to put down. Okay, so now I'm going to do the math. Starting off with my total sales price, I'm going to do the amount to be financed, which is the total sales price minus the trade-in and the down payment. That comes out to $25,870. This is how much I'm getting a loan for. Okay, I'm not getting a loan for $43,000 or $41,000. I'm getting a loan for what is left. I've already paid $17,000 in credit for my vehicle that I traded in, and an additional $1,000. So I'm taking a loan out for that $25,870. So now my interest rates are based on my credit score. My credit score is found on my buyer's card. So I'm going to look at my credit score. I think I said it was 690, and then the salesman is going to depart from the buyer. The buyer's going to go somewhere else. The salesman's going to do their calculation. I want it to be simulated this way, and then come back and give 2 different options for this. So if my credit score is 690, I need to calculate my monthly payment at 4% for 48 months, and another one at 5% for 60 months. So you'll have 2 different monthly calculations. So in my TVM solver, this is how this is going to look. So this is where I fall. This is my category. So I'm going to look at that table and see where my credit score is. We're not going to be married or combined incomes or anything like that. This is all just your individual buyer. And then let's do the 4% for 48 months. So first of all, N should be how many months I'm paying it back. That would be 48. My percentage is going to be 4. My PV is going to be the amount I'm borrowing. So the amount to be financed. My PMT is what I'm solving for. Future value should be 0. Both of these are 12, and that should say end. Like this. Then I hit alpha enter right here, and I get $584.12. I'm going to look at my monthly payment or my maximum monthly payment on my buyer's card. The salesman is, and he's going to determine is this at or below the maximum monthly payment. You cannot be above that maximum monthly payment under any circumstance. Okay, so if you're off and way off, you might want to consider you can go ahead and do the math real quick. Most of the stuff in here is going to be the same except the first 2 things. But let's look at the 5% for 60 months. What's going to change is that and this, and everything else is going to stay the same. We hit alpha enter, and we get $488.20. So these are my 2 payments. The salesman's going to fill them out and then go from there. And then if they don't work, they're going to come see me to get that going. So the buying a car simulation. Today, you will apply everything we just learned. Making sure I didn't skip anything. Apply everything we just learned. You're going to choose your role. One of you is going to be a buyer and the salesman. And then you're going to actually complete both roles. I'm probably actually not going to have you choose it. I'm just going to say this side of the room or randomly number y'all off. And you may have to work with somebody that you don't ever talk to. That's okay. So the buyer's instruction, you're going to get a buyer's card. You're going to find 2 to 3 vehicle options. You can write them down. Maybe save them in your tabs up at the top so you can show the salesman, because that's what you'll need to see. And then you need to know your maximum monthly payment. Do not agree unless it fits your budget. You're going to go over, once you find that, to a salesman that's available, not towards your friend that's waiting and not finished doing what they need to be doing. The salesman's going to greet you. Y'all are going to shake hands, sit down, have a conversation. The salesman will be asking questions about what's your name, what brings you in today, what type of vehicle are you interested in, and writing some of that stuff down and going from there. But you'll need to look for 2 to 3 vehicle options, maybe in different price ranges as you go forward. The salesman, while the buyers are doing that, I'm going to talk to the salesman in the class about kind of their jobs. They're going to be greeting the customers. They're going to be recording the vehicle and the price, calculating the tax, subtracting trade-in and down payment, calculating the finance amount, determine rate from the credit score, calculate 2 payment options, and present the options to the customer. And then come see me if that doesn't work. So you do have negotiations. If the payment is too much, you need to speak to the manager, which is me. Receive 1 negotiation card, update your sheet with whatever's on there. It could be like, we will lower the purchase price by $2,000, or we'll give you 1% minus your interest rate, or something like that. You have a maximum of 2 negotiations. If it's still too high, you need to choose one of the other vehicles. So final steps. Both people are going to sign the sales sheet once it's complete, and then complete the small little customer survey the customer will do on the salesman sheet, and then turn this in for a grade. This is going to be the salesman's grade. And then after that, you guys are going to switch roles. So, and that is our car buying project. Have fun.